Let's give it up for Robert Anderson, y'all. We are resolving to evolve, and I am convinced that there are no zygotes in this congregation. I am convinced of that. What is a zygote?
It's a one-celled.
A one-celled, one-thought, one-mind organism, huh? Yeah, good. I almost said something else. Woo. So it's Bronco country, isn't it? You guys didn't know what I was going to say. Yes, blue and orange. So we've got our blue and orange on today, and you know those wonderful commercials that they've played where, you know, the guy has to play the same song on the jukebox, and it doesn't really fit the bar he's in. He's like, but we score every time the song plays, so I've got to play it again. And you know those commercials, right? Well, I have to say I have my own thing going on there with the Broncos winning. They always win when I wear my jersey. So I didn't have it in me to actually wear my jersey to the center for church today, but I did wear my orange and blue, and as soon as the service is over, I'll put my jersey on because I know they're going to win today. So I just want you to know, Broncos, I'm there if you need to pull me in. If you need to pull me in, help you out, we're good. So we are resolving to evolve. We are in our Refresh and Renew series in January where we all come together, all of our New Thought, religious science communities come together, and we go back to the basics, and we're in our second week. Last week, we did the thing itself, and this week, we're moving into the way it works. And so I'm going to just be covering some items and some ideas with you that may be a review for you, but my goal is to bring it fresh, bring it in a renewed, refreshed way. So my talk title today is Instructions Found Inside. And I had a great time with that. But first I want to ask, how was your week? How was your week? Fantastic, wasn't it? How many of you set your alarm on your cell phone 2 to 3 times a day, as we talked about last Sunday, and checked your thoughts? Did anybody do that? I did. Did anybody else do that? It was a fantastic week, because I'll tell you, I was checking my thoughts. I was checking what I was subscribing to, which is what we covered last week. So it was a fantastic week. And how many rode in the limo this week? Y'all know what I'm talking about? Did we have any limo riders out there? Yeah? Anybody get dragged along the back of the bumper this week? Yeah? Yeah, we kind of covered that last week. Just wanted to check and see where you guys were riding, to just check in, find out where you are. So the second chapter, the way it works, how things work. Now, generally, when we want to know how something works, and I had the wonderful time of asking my husband that this week, I said, honey, when you want to know how something works, what do you do? And he said, well, generally, I check the schematic. I said, what do you mean? He said, you know, like the instructions. So the instructions come with something. I check that. And I said, oh, yeah, the instructions. Well, where are the instructions for life? You know, in the 90s, there was this cool little book printed, Life's Little Instruction Book. I fell in love with it the second I saw it in the 90s. And it has 155 different little tidbits of Life's Little Instruction Book. The very first time I ever read Ernest Holmes' Science of Mind text, I recoined it Life's Big Instruction Book. Because I discovered that really everything is in the first 4 chapters that we need to live a really, truly successful, joyful, fulfilled life. And so I think that's Life's Big Instruction Book. But where are the instructions for life, truly? I mean, I can imagine all parents wished that this instruction book had fallen from the sky the second that you had a baby so that it would tell you everything to do and everything not to do, but no, you pretty much had to figure it out for yourself, didn't you? And there are several other things along our walk of life and our path during life that we need to figure out for ourselves. And it's all within. I know that we discussed this a little bit last week. When we're on our path and things are going great, that's wonderful. But what is a very powerful tool that brings to our consciousness and allows us to get back on our path? We talked about pain. When we get off on our path and we start stepping on the briars and the brambles and the thorns, it causes us to wake up. It causes us to realize, wait a minute, I may be living a little bit more on the outside than I've been living on the inside. So maybe I need to go within. Because truly, that's where the instructions for life are. They are within. And they're not just within ourselves. They're within ourselves as we know ourselves to be as the universe, as the creator, as divine intelligence. I know we covered all of this last week. That's the beautiful thing about Ernest. He gets his point across over and over and over again because it's profound stuff, and we just get to keep washing ourselves, so we keep doing that metaphysical bath over and over again, don't we, Robert? So Ralph Waldo Emerson says the creation of 1,000 forests is in one acorn. The creation of 1,000 of your dreams that are waiting for you to come true are within you as that acorn, as that seed. That's where the instructions are. You know, the instructions for vast forests are right there in that one little seed. How is that possible? It's possible because that seed has within it everything that's in the universe. It's all one. It's like the microcosm to the macrocosm, and that's exactly what we have within us. And that's where we're going to find the instructions. Ernest Holmes says the seed of perfection is hidden within. It's not without, it's within. So we plant the seeds of creation into law through our conscious use of thought. This is the way it works, guys. And then we release it, knowing that God's got this. You know, if you were here for the Taste of Community and the workshop we did with the balloons, what'd we do? What'd we do with those balloons? We released it. So we plant it. We plant our conscious creation through thought into the law of the universe, which is the soil, and then we release it. We know that God's got this. We know that the instructions for life are within us because we are one with all of the forests of the world, all of the creation that has ever taken place, all of the energy, infinite intelligence, and wisdom that has allowed that to come true. And so God's got this, and the molding and creating of our lives then becomes the choices, the beliefs, the habits, the behaviors that we have. A Welsh proverb says, a seed hidden in the heart of an apple is an orchard invisible. Same thing. So Ernest goes on to say in the chapter, there is universal mind, spirit, intelligence, that is the origin of everything. It is the origin of me. It is the origin of you. It is the first cause, God. This universal life energy finds an outlet in and through all that is energized and through everything that lives. Through everything that lives. Are you alive?
You bet.
Yeah? Are you alive? You got it, right? So universal life energy is finding an outlet through you. You're alive. Through everything that exists. There's a Sufi proverb that says, I searched for God and found only myself. I searched for myself and I found only God. It is truly one and the same. The life which we live is the universal life expressing through us. How else could we live, Ernest writes. Our thought and emotion is the use that we make of it, consciously or unconsciously. Limo, bumper, we covered that last week, of this original creative thing that is the cause of everything. We now know that this is what we are because we could not be anything else, but we do not know how much of this we are. If God is to interpret itself through us, then God must be itself through us. You see how that works? It goes back and forth. We exist, made from the creator and creative energy process that created us. We are that. And as we operate through life, we are actually interpreting God as us. And we're interpreting life through that way. And so how much of life do we get to embody? We get to embody as much of life as we're willing to take on, as we're willing to open ourselves up to. And we'll go through that in just a little bit. Margaret Stortz writes, we are not simply wells of containment. You know, it's not like God just poured energy into us and we're just containing it. There's something else going on there. This is the way it works. We are also well springs from which the spillover of the divine guidance, divine wisdom, divine love, divine harmony may pour. may pour. That means it's pouring forth from us. We didn't just get filled with it and we're just walking around hanging on to this divine energy and then poof, we live our life and there it goes. No, there's a reason why we have been created to interpret the divine. It's so that it may pour forth from us. We are active fountainheads through which the infinite expresses, and we would do well to pay attention to the content of that expression. You are a fountainhead of the divine. What is the content with which you are proclaiming that fountainhead? So back to the instructions being found within you. You know, that's one way to know the way it works, is by reading the instructions. Another way, I was told, is you can take stuff apart to figure it out. So you can actually take something mechanical or electronical and completely take it apart, piece by piece, to try to figure out how it works. That's another way of doing it. It's very similar to the prodigal son that Ernest writes about. The prodigal son, as the story in the Bible went out, he had to go out and experience the world in order to know for himself. You see, that was the dragged along the back of the bumper to realize the limo existed. The prodigal son went out and decided to experience the world so that he would know for himself. Abraham Lincoln says you have to do your own growing no matter how tall your grandfather was. We got to do our own growing. To figure it out, the instructions are inside, but how do we figure it out? We got to experience it. We got to take it apart. We got to see, well, how does this work? We do it with every single bump, every single turn, every single curve, every single thorn along the path. We're figuring things out, aren't we? Ernest Holmes says, life waits upon your discovery of natural laws, your discovery of yourself, and the discovery of your relationship to the great whole. There is a native teaching, there's a poem where an elder is saying this: if you wish to survive, you will find the guide inside. Well, I am modifying that a little bit. I'm saying if you wish to thrive, you will find the guide inside. And that's the whole second chapter of The Way It Works. Your guide is within you. Every answer to every question you have ever wanted to know, it is already within you. The thing, Ernest writes, works for us by working through us and is us always. It spreads itself over the whole universe and shouts at us from every angle. Have you ever felt that? Have you ever felt it shouting at you at every angle in multiple different ways? Wake up. Pay attention, get this. And sometimes it shouts, you got this, way to go. This is awesome. It's spectacular, it's marvelous. We're achieving and accomplishing exactly what we're planting into that soil, into the law to make manifest. It shouts at us from every angle, Ernest says. But it becomes powerful to us only when we recognize it as power. Emerson states, there is no great and no small to the soul that maketh all. Then we may experience a greater good because we have conceived it. Good is universal. So Ernest goes on in the second chapter to explain this. He's like, okay, breaks it down for us. So we've already pointed out, and we've kind of got the fact that all the energy that's ever created anything is within us, and that we are completely connected to God itself. We are God itself, and as we take on this idea and this realization that we aren't thinking about God acting as God or spirit or divine, whatever word you feel comfortable with, if we're not thinking about that taking place, if we actually step into that role, we become that. When we become that, then we are able to realize and receive more of the greater good that is always around us. You know, that abundance that is constantly and completely around us for us to receive. We cannot hold it and receive it any more so than what we can carry, any more so than what we can embrace. It's like an ice cube tray. Think about an ice cube tray. You fill up the ice cube tray, you put it in the freezer, it makes ice, you break it up and you put the ice in your glass. What is the size of that ice? It's going to be the size of the little squares in the ice cube tray. What if I wanted a different size of ice? I need a different size tray, don't I? That's your consciousness. That ice is your abundance. That ice is the good that you desire to have in your life, or that which you want to achieve, or that which you want to accomplish. What size is your ice cube tray? How much can we receive? It's how much we can believe and conceive. So back to the prodigal son. He had to go out and experience himself, and he came back, and then you know what happened? The father was so delighted to see him that he ordered his servants, have a fatted calf prepared for a big feast tonight. And his other son had a real problem with that. He got really whiny, and he's like, fatted calf? He's been out spending the treasures of the money, out having a good time. I've been here toiling and working and staying by your side and supporting you, and you've never so much as done a skinny goat in my name and honor. So that's what we're talking about, isn't it? So do you have a fatted calf consciousness, or do you have a skinny goat consciousness? You see, the prodigal son went out and discovered it for himself. He created a greater conceptualization, a greater understanding of his ability to receive the good. The son that stayed, do you see the symbolism? He didn't have that same concept. He didn't even have a skinny goat. And I got that idea from Joel Osteen. Thank you, Joel. He loves talking about the skinny goat concept. And so I'm going to ask you, when you find yourself saying, I work so hard and my paycheck is so low, skinny goat, you being a skinny goat. Or I don't have the money to go on that trip. I don't have the money to go on that retreat that I know in my heart is pulling at my heartstrings that I need. Skinny goat. You being a skinny goat. You are. You're taking on a skinny goat consciousness. Where's the fatted calf consciousness? Where's the consciousness that knows itself as spirit divine, knowing that you are completely, always taken care of in abundance, all the time? It's that consciousness. It's what we put into it. It's the second chapter, the way it works. We've got the conscious use of our mind, the conscious use of our beliefs. We plant it into the soil, into the law, and it's made manifest over and over and over again. Not enough money. There's never enough money to pay the bills. That's a skinny goat consciousness. And I don't mean to take away what you are experiencing right now as your reality. That's not my purpose in this. My purpose in this is to review Ernest Holmes' wisdom in the second chapter that says, if you've got a skinny goat consciousness right now, all you have to do is start thinking about a fatted calf. That's all you've got to do. That's all you've got to do is take on the consciousness of the fatted calf consciousness, the prodigal son. Create a greater container. Imagine a bigger ice cube tray. That's really what it's about. I'll tell you a real live modern day story of something similar to that. It's of Mei Lin, who sometimes plays here as a guest artist. Her and her band had been trying a few times in the past year to get gigs at the Brook Forest Inn in Evergreen. And in trying, they had called the person that usually books the gigs and left messages to no avail. And her band and a few friends went and had Thanksgiving meal at the inn, at Brook Forest Inn, on Thanksgiving Day. And they were having a wonderful time and enjoying the food and enjoying breaking bread with their friends and giving thanks for it. And Mei Lin was on her way to go to the restroom, and the music was playing overhead, and she was singing with the music, just having a good time. And she walks by one of the employees who stopped her and said, "You have a beautiful voice." And Mei Lin was like, "Oh, thanks." You know, she was just going to the restroom. She'd go to the restroom, she came out. That employee had gone and gotten the person that does the bookings for the Brook Inn in that moment, because they loved her voice and loved her energy and said, "We want to have your band here." And so that they actually went and talked about it that day and booked it. Do you see how that works? They put out there that that's their desire, that's their goal, that's what they want. And if it doesn't happen, and if it doesn't happen, and if it doesn't happen, don't dig that seed up. There's no need to dig the seed up. God's got this. Just continue to take on the consciousness of that which you desire, of that which you know you need to embody to bring more about in your life. The fatted calf consciousness, not the skinny goat consciousness. We take the good wherever we find it, making it our own as so far as we understand it. We go through life. We go through life on purpose to increase our concept of the good that we're able to take in so far as we understand it. How much do you understand that the instructions for life, that the seed for abundance, the seed for everything that creates an entire orchard is within you? So you are coming true to your dreams every single moment. Stay the course. Don't dig up that seed. Just be yourself and know the truth and express your reality and express your truth and your divine self. And one day when you're walking to the restroom, the person may see your spirit and light and hear your song and hook you up with that which you're desiring to know more about and to experience. I know you know what it feels like when you're on the path. I know you know that. And I know what you feel like when you're not on the path. So in this second chapter, the way it works, be the captain of your ship. Your journey has molded you for your greater good, and it was exactly what it needed to be. Don't think for a second that you've lost any time. There's no shortcutting to life. It took each and every situation that you have encountered to bring you right here and right now. So I have a message. Does anybody out here in the congregation get the messages from the universe? The TUT, T-U-T? Yeah. I've been doing that for years. I absolutely love it. And if you know about the message from the universe, you know that when you set it up, it asks for that which you are affirming to materialize and manifest in your life. And a while back, I had put in what I wanted to manifest and materialize. And you get an email from the universe every single day, and it's really cool. It's very inspiring, very creative. None of them are ever the same. Yet every now and then, he'll throw in a little tidbit affirming what it is that you had what you had signed up and sent in for, that you wanted to attract into your life. And so the other day, I got one of those. And this really cool thing happened. Because my message from the universe was talking about pastoring a loving, life-affirming community. And I realized, check. I got it. God's got this. Now I need to log in and change what it is that I'm manifesting and wanting the universe to affirm for me. But do you see how that works? I want to ask you right now, think about what you have accomplished, what you have achieved in that past year. What is it that you can go, check, got it? Because it's a wonderful feeling. No matter what the seed is that we're planting through this thought and through our behaviors and actions, through our consciousness, and we plant it into the soil, and the law does its thing and it manifests, think about all the seeds you have planted that have borne fruit. That's really something. It's something worth celebrating. It really, really is. We hear about it over and over again, I do, about how life is just all about a celebration. It's not meant to be a toil. It's not meant to be week after week doing what you need to do to get the money, to pay the bills, to put the roof over your head so you can live another week, to get the money, to pay the bills, to put a roof over your head. Do you see where I'm going there? That skinny goat consciousness. You know, we are the fountain, we're the vessel. We are that divine love, that divine infinite intelligence, that divine wisdom that's meant to flow through us. When we bear that fruit, think about how many people are fed and nourished with the fruit that we create by the conscious use of the law. It's really quite amazing, and I love it, and it's worth celebrating. Karen Raven says, only as high as I reach can I grow. Only as far as I seek can I go. Only as deep as I look can I see. Only as much as I dream can I be. And so we're talking about the conscious use of the law here. And I thought, you don't need to take Ernest's word for it. You don't need to take my word for it. I'll give you another example. And I'm going to show a 3-minute video that is a man's story. His name is Morris. And you may know him or heard of him, Morris Goodman, the gentleman that was in a plane crash. And I'm going to let him tell you the story. It's really basic. And what he did was he applied the use of the law that we're going over right now in the 2nd chapter, the way it works. This is the way it works. Take Morris's word for it.
What he thinks about.
8 months. Did you hear what he said? He could not afford to think about anything that did not support his goal. He said he would walk out of there by Christmas. In 8 months, he only entertained thoughts that supported exactly what he desired in life. And he was truly successful. And he did that through his mind and by listening to the seed, to the instruction within him. He listened to that voice that said, go ahead. Don't listen to what they're saying. They said he'd never breathe again on his own. Some voice inside of him said, breathe deep. Do it anyway. He did not have a skinny cow consciousness, did he? No, he did not. And then I think to myself, he rebuilt his cervical spine. He rebuilt the ability to breathe. He rebuilt all of that. What is mine to do? What is there for me to do? What are your dreams that are waiting for you to come true? What are they? Because whatever they are, can you afford to entertain a thought that looks anything other than what they are? No, not at all. That's the way it works. Whatever seed, whatever thought, whatever consciousness you are planting into the soil of the law, it is going to be made manifest every single time. There is no discrimination with the universe. It's going to happen. Being. It says yes, being, every single time. Look at the power. Look at the power of someone who could not afford to take their thoughts and apply their energy to anything other than what they desired and what they wanted to make manifest. That's powerful. And Ernest talks about it in the 2nd chapter. I'm talking about it today. Morris talked about it there, and there are infinite stories out there. I know y'all probably all have at least 5 that come to mind right now, and I want to hear about every one of them. Because that's the celebration that life is about. Let's celebrate that. The complaining needs to go away. The only thing that you've got to complain about is creating more for you to complain about. What is it that you want this year to look like? What are your dreams? What do you want the universe to email to you in a year or in a day or in 6 months where you read it and you're like, check. I need to update my affirmation with the universe. So this is what the 2nd chapter is all about. Know that the seed, the instructions are already within you. You already have everything that you have ever needed right here and right now to make your life exactly the way you wanted it to be. Jim Carrey, who is totally on board with this, by the way, I don't know if you've ever heard him speak, but he has TED Talks out there, and he's an extreme metaphysician. If you knew that, did you know that, Jim Carrey? It's really cool to hear him talk about it too, because he keeps his wonderful sense of humor. He says thought is responsible for all the suffering that we experience. And I say to Jim, well, you know what? Thought is responsible for all of the joy that we experience too, and all of the celebration that we experience. He says, who is it that is aware of what you are thinking? It is that instruction. It is that intuitive knowledge, the divine truth that's within you that knows. He says, feel the freedom from yourself, from your problems, and see yourself bigger than your body and everything and everyone. That's what Morris did. He could have easily taken those professionals for what they said was going to be and wasn't ever going to be, but that wasn't his truth. He said, no, that's not my truth. I'm not taking that on. Jim Carrey says, no longer will you be a fragment of the universe. You are the universe. You are the universe. And we are never left without a witness of the divine, says Ernest Holmes. So the faith of God is very different than the faith in God. We are the faith of God. And there are great spiritual themes of our lives that are within us, those instructions. We do not make tracks to attain them. They're already there. But we do expect to experience them. Experience is what it's all about, isn't it? So what we're going to do is I'm going to end my talk with an opportunity to experience that this morning. It's all about the energy that we create, right? It's all about the energy that Morris was willing to think about and visualize and create. And so we're going to do a little exercise this morning. At Asilomar for 2 years straight, the Asilomar chorus has sung this song, and it's actually a chant, and Robert's going to help me with it. You knew about this. And it goes like this. There is only one life. That life is God's life. That life is perfect, and that life is my life now. Very simple words, and we have a slide on it. Very simple words, but I want to explain something to you. When we chant that together as a community and as a group over and over and over again, you will not believe the amount of energy and joy and creative juice that's created from that. I can tell you multitudes of stories of things that happened to people in the audience this past year at Asilomar while the chorus sang this. And so I'm inviting you, step into the experience with me. Let's all sing it together in a round over and over and over again, because the instructions are within you, and we pull them out and we read them and we experience them by going through situations like this. So are we ready? Are y'all ready? Yes. Yes, okay. So it goes like, and I have a recording of it, but I think it'd be better if we just sang it without the recording. That's right, stretch. Stretch, get yourself ready for this. Bring it on. So can you help, because I want to make sure I get this right. It's, there's only one life. That life is God's life. That life is perfect. That life is my life. Now there's only one life. That life is God's life. That life is perfect. That life is one life. Now there's only one life. That life is God's life. That life is perfect. That life is my life. Now there's only one life. That life is God's life. That life is perfect. That life is my life. Now there's only one life. That life is God's life. Come on, everybody. That life is perfect. That life is my life. Now there's only one life. That life is God's life. That life is perfect. That life is my life. Now there's only one life. That life is God's life. That life is perfect. That life is my life. Now there's only one life. That life is God's life. That life is perfect.